Tell me about like your childhood with your brothers and some of your family.
Yeah, that's because it's funny because I thought you were going to be like, oh, Venezuela. And it's like, there's not much Venezuela in my childhood.
Yeah.
I came here when I turned 6.
Yeah.
And so like on my birthday.
What's the age difference between you and your brother?
I was born 95. Daniel was 93. Jesus was 90.
Okay.
So Jesus is 5 years older than me. And Daniel is 2 years older than me.
Okay.
So
interesting.
2.
Yeah. There's a 7-year difference between my brother and I. So it's it's an interesting dynamic.
Yeah.
Comparing the two, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. We're close enough to where it's like we were always able to like relate to each other. Jesus being the oldest, he like to me, he was just like the coolest one. So like I like admire him the most.
Yeah.
Here you go, Jesus. Here's your back stroking, I guess. But like Daniel and I would also spend a lot of time together because we did at least spend like periods of time where we went to the same school. Whereas with Jesus, I didn't because he was 5 years older.
Yeah, much older.
And so, which is funny because like Sable and Jesus are the same age. And so it's like the relation is still a little different, but like, so I don't know. The relation is there.
Absolutely.
But like, whenever I refer to like growing up and my family, I always say like us because like Jesus, Daniel, and I were such a unit.
Absolutely.
That like we did everything together and all the inside jokes were with us and like everything was just together.
I can totally relate. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And I don't know, it's kind of different being 3 instead of 2. Like Daniel and I did have our like pair time a lot, but like with the 3 of us, it's like a different dynamic. It's the same. I mean, I've been podcasting for like over 4 years now, and it's like the same dynamic of like podcasting with 2 people as opposed to with 3 people. Like conversations kind of like ping together more intricately or something. And like how we feed off of each other's energy has always been like curiosity and like wanting to one up each other and like like adding to each other's jokes and stuff like that. And so that's kind of always been what that is. And then because of the like hierarchical nature of like siblings,
absolutely, it
is sort of like anytime Jesus would discover something, he would like show us and we'd be like, whoa, this is the coolest thing ever.
Yeah.
And then like Daniel would discover something and then show it to me and I'd be like, whoa, this is the coolest thing ever.
Yeah.
And then I would always kind of be late just because like I don't have anything to show them because they're like so much cooler than me.
Yeah. Yeah, man, my relationship with my brother, like I adore that kid so much. And I do view him as much younger than me. But I also do see him as a peer in many ways too. I mean, he's older now than he was when we were both children. Yeah. Cause he's 21 now. But I mean, the kid he's a genius in many ways. There's no other way to put it. The kid is a computer whiz, you know? So, and even though I do consider myself his senior in some ways, I mean, he and I like to get into really deep conversations too, you know, like as I'm sure you have done with your brothers plenty of times, but, he and we get into these really deep conversations and then he surprisingly forces me to question my beliefs. And I mean, with his little brain, or not little, but you know what I mean? You're very smart, Che. And I'm not, his name's Che, by the way. But yeah, so, I mean, I'm actually extremely grateful for the fact that I have someone who I relate to that well. And I'm like, I would definitely describe him as like one of my best friends for sure. Yeah. And the fact that he is so intelligent and can force me to question my own beliefs is like, that's invaluable, I think.
I feel like it does say something about your relationship because like, even the way that you're talking about him is sort of like an older brother down.
Yeah. Yeah,
and I mean,
maybe so.
Even the way that I just talked about my brothers is like a younger brother up.
Yeah.
And so there's always, it's kind of weird too, because like, I don't know, we're all adults now. We're all grown up. We have like our own lives that we're living and stuff like that. But it still feels like every time I'm with my brothers, I can't do enough because like they're just so much better than me. And it's like somehow they always like put me back down in my like younger brother place.
Yeah, no, I have a tendency to do that probably as well. Like luckily, I think one of the things that we do bond on is the fact that we kind of do have that sort of inside kind of joke thing that and we like to tease our parents a lot.
Yeah.
Which they're kind of like, that's always a good way of bonding, is to have a common enemy in some ways.
Yeah.
Not that we don't love our parents, but it's so fun to just make fun of them. And then we kind of get a rise out of each other. And like, that's a really awesome and fun thing to do.
Yeah.
And then, he plays music, so that's always been something we bonded on.
Yeah.
And then and computers and video games and philosophy and
exactly.
deep conversations. Yeah, those are all been things that I've just been extremely rewarded with my relationship with him. So
yeah, and it's an interesting thing is that like, I don't know, for me, or from my perspective as the youngest brother, it is kind of like in a weird way, like there's always this feeling that like the youngest of a family is like the one that's treated the most nicely or like the favorite or whatever.
I can relate to that.
Yeah. And so like I acknowledge that, and I probably like have gotten it better, but at the same time, it is like I've gotten to see two versions of myself deal with things at their steps in growth. And then I learned from their mistakes. And then they also, like, as I was growing up, would tell me that, like, oh, whenever, like, you're doing this, don't do that. And whenever you're like, here, don't do this and do this instead.
Yeah, I mean, my brother, like, he's definitely done the same thing. Like, I've made some mistakes, and he knows what they are, So, I mean, I'm happy that I was able to not only experience that and help him, but also, like the family dynamic of him going through that. And I don't know, there's a lot of things that I'm, ironically enough, I think it would have been because my brother, he's actually very headstrong. And I'm like, I have a more introverted demeanor, and I'm more quiet, kind of kind-hearted, I think, a little bit. And my mom and I always make this joke that if he had been born first and I was born second, I would have just been steamrolled. So like it's good that I was born first, because I at least had that seniority on my side a little bit.
But I guess kind of thinking back to like, I guess what it was like growing up, we didn't move a lot, and so the dynamic of like kind of always being new kids as well is that we kind of went to each other rather than like out. And so like once we like had stayed in one place long enough, we like did branch out and get like, more solid friends. But like up until like middle school, we like, I
can 100% relate to that. I moved around all the time as a kid. We never stayed in the same place for longer than a year. So I, like I said, I would have like a best friend here and then a new friend over here. And, we lived in all kinds of different states. And I didn't actually stay in the same location until I got to high school, which was like, Chandler High School, which is a small school or whatever. And then I've actually it's strangely enough, I've been in Edmond for probably 10 years, probably more actually. I'm not sure exactly, but, moving around can be a strange, I think it's a really rewarding experience.
Sure.
Cause you do, see a lot of the United States and also,
well, we didn't get to move that much. We just moved like around the Oklahoma City area. Okay. And so it was like just similar enough to be like, it's the same place.
That's interesting.
But it's like, it was just, all of your friends that you see every day, like all right, here's
Okay.
a different school, and
All
so
right.
now you don't
Yeah.
see
Mine
them.
was like very much a lot distance traveling.
That's very different because
Yeah.
it's not even like, because at least we went to the same like church growing up the whole time. So
Yeah.
like there's at least some foundations, but
Yeah.
like
There was no consistency like with mine. It was like basically my family is like the consistency, like, you know. And no, I look back on that experience. I regard it highly because being an introvert, I think it forced me to come out of my shell a little bit and be capable of like engaging with people. Because if I didn't, then I was basically just alone and isolated a lot of the time. So yeah, that was something that was really good. And I learned a lot from that, trying to build relationships over and over and over again. Practice makes perfect, I guess, you know?
Yeah.
So I wouldn't do it any differently at this point. I actually love the fact that I've been able to stay here for so long now because I've actually developed some really great friendships with your brother and with some of my other friends, and just having some consistency in my adult years has been really nice, actually.
Yeah. I do think that, I mean, for me, I do want to move away from Oklahoma.
Oh yeah.
Just because
I can, yeah.
I don't know, fuck this place, but
no, Oklahoma, of all the places I've lived in, I never imagined I'd end up in the state that I was born in, because it's definitely the least lackluster of all the places I've lived, for sure. It's pretty boring here.
But it does at least allow for like, and this kind of goes into like, I guess the music scene conversation, but like because it's so cheap to live here, it does allow like growing up as sort of a springboard to like save money and then be able to like go somewhere else and not have like a crippling amount of debt.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I was working in Colorado about I think it was about 2 years ago, almost, maybe more or less. But so the price of living there was insane.
Yeah,
I made some really good friends out there. And I would go hang out with them, and there's like 8 people living in the same house.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I mean, it was it wasn't like a super nice place, but it was like, it wasn't that worse. And they all had like rooms. It was a big place, but like you have to really, pull your resources to live in a place like that, in Denver. And that was probably one of my favorite places I continue to desire to live in some place like Colorado.
Oh, yeah.
The outdoorsy stuff. I'm all about the outdoors. So,
but I guess a question for you, because I feel like, I don't know, I've talked to lots of different musicians in the more like contemporary scene, but like the difference then becomes with like classical. It's like there's not really like a lot for classical musicians in Oklahoma.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I always saw classical music as a springboard, and I still love it. I think Bach is probably, even though he's not classical, one of the greatest composers of all time. I'm like obsessed. Even when I was in college, I was extremely obsessed with Bach. But I'm not really a big consumer of classical music these days. I think it was like, I saw it like a tool. It was like, this is how you're going to learn how you want to do what you want to do, because there's already established like process and foundation for music learning and reading music and theory and everything. In Oklahoma, I mean, honestly, pursuing anything in the classical realm is kind of antiquated at this point. Yeah, because like you're like trying to draw in like old people, or not a lot of people our ages are really all that passionate about it. And I mean, I think it is to be appreciated. I think it's extremely rewarding, and it's extremely beautiful. And some of the greatest people that have ever written music wrote it that way. And but it's not something that I'm wanting to actively pursue or perform or do any of those things at this point in my life.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, at this point I like can't, but but it is more like being a composer is a little different too, because there is still like a little bit more avenues, just because there's like the struggling people that are trying to just do classical music at all. There's like Painted Sky Opera, and not that like these places are like struggling, but like everyone's having a hard time anyways.
Yeah.
And then like jazz stuff, and everyone's kind of trying to find stuff to do.
It's hard to do anything with like the classic routes, like jazz and classical music anymore. And I feel sorry for, and I don't mean this in a disrespectful way, but I feel sorry for some of the people that like actively pursue, like really go into hardcore, like trying to make it as a exclusively a jazz performing musician or a classically performing musician. Like if you can get those few jobs that are actually financially stable and awesome, but it's not something that a lot of people appreciate, and you have to be really intrinsically rewarded in order to want to do that. And if that's good too. There's argument for that as well, but
you also have to be the best of the best of the best.
Yeah. And that's an extremely competitive environment.
Yeah. And that is kind of something that I feel like I keep saying this on the podcast, but like, if you want to be a classical like performer, you have to have that drive in you to like,
you have to have that Kanye, you know, like I'm the best of the best, like maybe
not even that, but like actually just like be perfect.
Yeah.
Like if anything less than perfect is okay with you, then don't do it.
Yeah. I just like, you have to have that drive to practice your ass off.
Yeah.
And I mean, and like that can be great and that can be really rewarding. And there's a lot of people out there that are amazing at guitar or amazing. I mean, that's my instrument, but yeah. It's just, I don't have that in me and I'm not driven to express myself and identify myself that way either.
Yeah.
Cause like, I think a lot of like what people do musically, we tend to wrap up our identities with it.
Yeah.
You know, like it becomes part of your identity because you do it so much. And you know, I think to some degree, we have a conscious ability to sort of control how we identify and how others identify us as, I guess.
Yeah.
And so, personally, I don't want to be the classical guitar player guy, you know?
Yeah.
So,
or, I mean,
not that it's a bad thing. But.
Yeah. Have you ever considered being a session musician?
Yeah, I mean, maybe. I'm not much of a I like performing, but I was way more driven in self-expression than I was with like just playing guitar for guitar's sake.
Yeah.
Like it was always like I had that kind of itch that I wanted to scratch really bad, which was like putting myself in some really interesting and intriguing way out into the world, you know, and I feel like I do personally feel that I have like some sort of not a gift, but like I have the desire at least. So like that's what I want to do is like I didn't spend all those years practicing guitar, like all those hours every day, you know, just to basically just sit on my butt with it, I guess. And
yeah, exactly.
So
yeah, I don't know. Like sometimes it is a little scary for me because it is like I'm not the best at playing guitar or singing or keyboard or whatever. I feel completely emasculated whenever I see some of these guitar players on Instagram, you know? Yeah.
But like the thing that keeps me in fear of that idea is that it's always kind of like you're just competing with yourself. Yeah, you know? Exactly. That's how I've always treated it. Like I look at someone like Steven Lorenta, or I'm gonna hate myself for getting that wrong if I did. But man, that dude can play guitar like nobody's business. And I see these videos and I just kind of I just shudder and I'm like, oh God, I'm probably 15, 20 years away from doing that if I started now. Yeah. You know, so. Right.
But like, I don't know. For me, that's not the goal. Like it's. Yeah. If I wanted to be like that good of a guitarist, in fact, if I wanted to be as good a guitarist as you, that ship has already sailed. Yeah. Like I'm not going to be that good.
You could do it. You could do it. I've got some technical competency, but like, I mean, you could achieve that in a couple of years if you really tried. But at the same time, like, like the same thing that's keeping me from achieving even better technical competency is the fact that the music I want to write doesn't need a lot of that.
Sure.
Like that stuff's really awesome when you see it being done, and then like, holy crap, like I can't believe that's being done. But there's a lot of in between room, and there's a lot of really amazing music that doesn't even require that at all.
Yeah.
And you already have a brain and like an ear. So like, I mean, as long as you stay true to that, I think you'll,
that's and I think that's an interesting thing is cause like, I don't write things that I don't want to write, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
And so
I can totally relate to that.
Like, I think most of the things that I write for myself, at least like vocally, for example, that is my main instrument. If like I consider myself a performer vocally, I know what I can do. I know I'm a pretty damn good singer for myself.
Yeah.
And so I don't write anything that like I can't do. But for like guitar, for example, I can't write stuff kind of outside of my ability. I can like,
absolutely,
I can theorize it, but guitar is an interesting one because it's like, it's so specific as to what it can do, as to what the human hand is capable of on the neck of a guitar.
Yeah.
Like you can kind of just like throw notes on a page and put it on piano and people can probably do it. As long as like you put five notes per hand.
See, and there's something in that that I discovered when I started writing music for guitar. Because I used to transcribe everything into my computer with Guitar Pro, and which is like a notation tablature software that you put in rhythms and stuff. And so I really tried really hard because I thought that this was the way to do it going forward. Okay, I can just transcribe it in my computer. My computer will remember it forever. I don't have to remember all the ideas in my head, and I'll have a record of it, and then I can play it and I can record it. And you're using a lot of MIDI, so you're relying on like the finished product to sound like the MIDI kind of. Yeah. And I noticed over time that everything I wrote into Guitar Pro sounded like it was written in Guitar Pro. Yeah. Like I was like transcribing directly from the guitar, but I was so used to hearing the recorded version on the Guitar Pro that, and then you also fall into traps like, well, it's easier to write things that don't have as interesting of a rhythm because you can just write like 16th notes all day and you can make a pretty melody that fits the chords really well, but it's not really all that interesting to listen to because it's just straight 16ths the entire time. Yeah. No offense to Bach or anything, but
definitely offense to Bach. Bach was overrated.
But so I noticed that when I started to start using a DAW and like and plugins and really start to record the music and just use my ear. Yeah. The results were leagues in terms of creativity, way more interesting. Yeah.
That's something about the classical realm that I feel like has always been lacking. And it probably has a lot to do with like the tools by which we learn it. And so there were so many times during my master's that I was like, I want this thing, but there's not a good way to show it on sheet music. Yeah. And it's like, why are there only like 7 dynamics? Like, this is stupid. Quiet, kind of quiet, loud, or like kind of loud, loud. Yeah. And then like you can go into the extremes of that, but
I think transcribing is like really good for after you've written something. Cause then it's like, okay, but like if you're writing into notation, like it just comes out.
Oh no, I never did.
Yeah. Well, like you have to be Mozart or, cause like otherwise like you're basically, it takes a long time to construct a musical idea. And while you're in the process of it, you can be influenced by your own ideas that are happening on the spot. And if you're slowly putting things into a computer and you're not just building it all on the spot, like with your ear, you can get wrapped into patterns really easily. Like I noticed that with my own guitar playing and when I'm writing music is that I'll start to write something and I'll be grooving to it. I'll be liking it, and then I'll be like, I'll you do that thing with any creative process where you step away for like 20 minutes, right? And you come back and listen to it and you're like, oh God,
it's garbage.
Yeah. Oh, like what the hell? Like I've read that like 17 times, you know? So like, that's something that's really frustrating.
Yeah. Although sometimes it is like, cause I don't know, you can look at different composers and be like, oh, they had this thing that they always did. And like, maybe from like a music theory perspective, it's like, oh, this is just a thing that Beethoven always did. This thing that Bach always did.
Yeah, I wish it was that word.
Maybe if you like actually like talk to them with a time machine or whatever, they'd be like, I can't stop doing it. It just keeps happening. I don't want to keep doing it, but it just keeps, and I'm too involved in the thing to now change it. So it's just like, I've done this thing 20 times and I just do it now.
Well, like, you know, like for me, especially like I try to use my ear more than anything. And it's taken time to develop my ear to a point where what sounds good to me isn't just the things I've done a lot, you know? And like, cause I think, at least in my experience, when I'm writing music, the chords that I use, and because you're also simultaneously trying to develop an aesthetic, and the chords that I sometimes tend to use are just because I like the quality of that chord. Yeah, you know, and so like I tend to wrap myself into that circle because that's the aesthetic I'm going for, but then in doing that, you don't explore things that you could potentially be using, or I mean, maybe if they're not music exclusive, you can still do that. Yeah, but it can still be somewhat of a hindrance sometimes. I feel like I hate writing the same thing over and over again. It drives me crazy.
But again, that is like maybe the tools that you're using kind of lend themselves to more easily do something like this. Yeah, and so it's like it makes sense that if you're like notating into sheet music, like if you just keep doing triads or something, it looks nice on the page because it like it's just like these stacked notes. Yeah, but like depending on the instrument that you're playing it on, like stacked triads on guitar suck.
Oh no, you don't want to do that. You don't want to do that.
And stacked triads on piano feel great. Yeah, and so like
I something that really was an awesome like transition or tool for me was going from trying to notate piano keyboards like chord progressions into music software, going from that to going to strictly MIDI out, like
looking at a piano roll.
Yeah. And like I was like writing out my stuff, and then I could like analyze it like just by looking at the notes and go, oh, that's this triad, but I'm using like inversions or whatever. And then I could build on that, and then I could look at like this huge chord progression as like lines. Yeah. You know, and then I could go, well, wait, the voice leading would be better if I moved that third.
Exactly.
Down.
And you can see it better.
Yeah. And then like I would spend like 10 hours working on like one short little chord progression, but then at the end you see all the lines like matching and meshing well. And then it looks like this tapestry, and it sounds like this tapestry that's actually logical and makes a lot of sense. Yeah. It's way more rewarding that way. Like the music notation is, you have to have a brain for it in order to see it that way.
Yeah. And I just couldn't like it.
Yeah, me either.
Throughout my masters, I would do everything in Ableton in like the piano roll and MIDI and stuff like that. And then I would export the MIDI file and then import it into Finale. Yeah. And literally every time that I open up Finale and start using it, I say out loud, I hate Finale.
Yeah, no, I actually never really got, I used Finale when we did like music technology in college, but it was never one that I really got super familiar with because I was always writing on Guitar. Guitar Pro was just way more conducive to that. You write numbers for tablature instead of just like, and the notation would just fill itself out. So I got like growing up, especially teaching myself for so long, like that whole 5-year period of just me basically learning tabs all the time. I got to where I could sight read tabs really well. Yeah. And it was mostly just using your ear to figure out rhythm, you know? So, cause there was back then we didn't have things like Guitar Pro where the rhythms, like it plays it and there's a MIDI form of it as well. It was just like numbers and a graph on a crappy HTML document online or something, you know?
Ultimate Guitar, man.
Oh yeah. I still use that.
I still use Ultimate Guitar all the time, man.
Greatest website of all time. It's like, yeah, if you ever want to learn guitar, ultimateguitar.com, find, hey there, Delilah. There you go. It's like the number one played song.
Thousands of ratings on it.
Yeah.
Hundreds of comments saying like, this is garbage.
Yeah.
This chord's wrong.
Yeah. Every guitar player has to learn Stairway to Heaven too. So that's always.
I have yet to learn Stairway to Heaven.
Oh man.
Maybe I will at some point, but
you got to make some people cringe at a party sometime, like, or go to Guitar Center and really piss people off.
I have played Wonderwall several times.
There you go.
Every time, ironically, but
of course, yeah, yeah. No, I actually learned Wonderwall unironically when I was like a year into it, thinking like, man, that's a good song. And looking back, I'm like, God, dude, I was that guy. So,
but I don't know. It is kind of like, yeah, well, like you're saying about learning guitar through tabs, that kind of lends itself to a different kind of writing as well.
Oh, yeah.
And you can feel and like see how it like looks nicely on your hands or something. Mm-hmm. And
you develop, cause like I was playing scales, but I didn't know any scales, you know, and it was all, and like, also I was also playing a lot of drop D tuning, which tends to line things up really well, especially on the top or the low 3 strings.
Yeah.
And so like, and, you know, I was a hardcore metalhead, so everything was chugging and bar chords, like, you know, all day. But the patterns line themselves up really well. So you can play really fast and learn these things that, because there's not a lot of like deviation in the pattern.
Right.
But
it's 555, 777.
Yeah. And even like scalar, like, you know, fast, like little riffs or whatever. All that stuff just makes a lot of sense, and it matches up well with the inlays. So like, you know exactly where to go and what sounds good and everything. But then over time you realize that everything you're playing sounds like it's written that way, you know? So once you kind of, that would be what I would describe not playing with color.
Yeah.
And you know, that's still my own interpretation.
Mm-hmm. I guess, how do you break yourself out of a guitar sound? Because like, again, the guitar is so this is a concept that I always explore, and I feel like needs to be acknowledged across everything, but it's like systems have emergent properties that kind of determine what the tendencies are going to be within the system. Mm-hmm. And so the way that the 12-note scale is and how we use it, and then how we separate that into 7-note scales, and how the distance between mi to fa and ti to do, like, creates those tendencies that we hear in all of our music. And like, that is something that we need to acknowledge as like, the emergent properties of this system is why we have cadences feel like this. And then the same thing, it's like the shape of the human hand on the neck of a guitar creates certain tendencies.
Yeah. Like as far as like writing something, escaping whatever, you know, the guitar is made to do, like, now something I haven't done, which I think would probably be pretty beneficial, would be playing in like really drastically different tunings. But like, I tend to try to get really knowledgeable of like standard tuning just personally, because like that's kind of what we all learn how to do, and there's a lot of sense into why it's tuned that way too. But like
just the B string being
at first, like, that was for a long time. That was a big
that's
pain
the
in the
bane
ass.
of my existence, man.
It's a big pain in the ass. B and E they can be pains in the ass. Ironically, I picked up 5-string bass recently because I got a bass, and there's no B string, so like I'm playing scales on a 5-string bass, and I want to do what I was doing on guitar. So like these triads that I'm trying to play on the top of the neck and stuff, they're like frustrating me because they're not the way the guitar is made, you know?
No, it's all the same. It's great.
I know.
I learned bass first.
It makes sense that way. And I you know, I've somewhat overcome that problem since I've had the bass for a while, but yeah, writing on the guitar, like if I'm going to do something, I'm basically using my ear to write something that is just intriguing to me. Whether that sounds like it's written on a guitar or not. I mean, usually it does just based on tone.
Yeah.
But I'm not really ever trying to not sound like it's on a guitar.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's escaping like the system of the guitar, like you were saying. I think you're less prone to fall within the system of the guitar than you are you're prone to fall into the system of your own like understanding of it.
Yeah.
You know, like, cause that's way easier of a problem that, to encounter and way more difficult to overcome than cause the guitar itself is like, it's logical and, but usually our understanding of it is lesser than the system itself, you know? And so, I'm more often than not just trying to overcome my habits and my approach than I am like, you know, worried about like the guitar itself. Like there are chords that I wish I could play sometimes that I don't have big enough hands or voicings that I really want that just, I wish there was a lower note that I couldn't like. It's like I need an 8-string guitar, or something like that.
And if you fall down that rabbit hole, you're just gonna like get this big ass neck that's just like.
I've been
just playing a dulcimer now.
I've been thinking about it, but you know, I'm gonna need more money before I can do something like that. But actually, this is an interesting change of subject. But is there is there a guitar or something that you really, really like look at and like desire, or an instrument maybe, or?
You know, I think I have like this idea of like extreme sort of pragmatic approach to like, so if you see over here in my guitar rack,
yes, I was exploring a little bit.
I have an acoustic guitar, which is my first guitar. You had mentioned your first guitar in the last podcast. It was from Daniel's girlfriend at the time in high school, Julia. If you know her.
I met Julia, and
like she had never played it, or like I don't know. It was in her family, and she was like, "Do you want it?" It's like, "Yeah." So that's been my guitar. All right, it was my first guitar.
It's got a good tone to it. I strummed it a little bit. And it sounds pretty decent.
Cool, because it's been through a lot. It survived a car wreck.
Yeah. I had one suffer through a car wreck. One of my electric guitars got destroyed.
Yeah. And I've never had a case for it. So I always just
those old beater acoustics
around.
they can handle some struggles.
And so I kind of want like just a nice like solid Martin or a Taylor or something, just to like just a good solid wood like. And that'll be all I need for acoustic guitar forever. Yeah.
I have a buddy that I work with that he recently brought a Martin. I think it was a Martin. It was either a Taylor or Martin, and I hate myself for not knowing the distinguishing right now. But
Taylors are brighter, Martins are.
Yeah, I know I played on it, and I know that sounded amazing.
Yeah.
I almost want to say it's the Taylor, but the logos look really similar in my mind at this point. But I remember playing, my steel string acoustic is, it's not that great or anything. It sounds pretty, but it's not one that I play on a lot. And I only have one other than like my first guitar that is like untouchable, like not playable. No way. So playing on something like that it's really rewarding and really interesting. And, it roughs your fingers up a little bit, you know? But those can be fantastic guitars. Yeah. Beautiful.
But the thing is that like, so that was my first guitar and I never knew any better. And I kind of still don't. So,
interesting.
And so my second guitar, it's not here, but it was a fake Strat.
Like a Squire or something?
No.
Okay.
So I bought it from a Goodwill for like $25 because it was all messed up. And I like cleaned it and like it had like duct tape on it. And someone had like Sharpied on like the American Idiot, like Green Day grenade thing on the
that's wonderful
on the pick guard. And I like scraped it off because I hate Green Day. And
I'm not a big fan either.
But like that was my first electric guitar. And I was like, man, like I have an electric guitar, and I like plugged it in. And so like the first recording I did, so like you can listen to my album Bloom, and Home, the first track is the first thing I like ever recorded.
I've listened to that track.
And it is that crappy guitar with just like some delay and reverb.
That's awesome.
And it's like, you can listen to it and if you want to be like, oh, the tone is awful or whatever, like, I don't know. I didn't know any better. I like how it sounded, and that's what it was.
Absolutely.
And so I've never been like a gear snob or tone.
Yeah.
So I literally, whenever I got my second electric guitar, that is a Fender Strat HSS.
Yep.
The reason is because I literally Googled most versatile guitar.
Yeah. That sounds about right.
And people were like,
they're awesome guitars.
Get a Strat with a humbucker. And it's like, cool.
Yep.
And so that's literally the whole reason why I got it. It's just,
I like, as far as tone and stuff, like I was actually like this typical metalhead when I was growing up was like cut the mids, boost the bass and boost the treble and just go at it. And like, it was just this like kind of sounding but it sounded good for chugging and stuff like that.
Always scoop the mids anyway. Who needs the mids?
You gotta have mids sometimes.
Maybe on classical.
No, I'm telling you, even like some solos stuff, like you got like it. Sometimes it just makes it is that good quality. But
it's a necessary edge, but I don't like it a whole lot.
Like so I played on a my first electric guitar was not my first. The first electric guitar I ever played was a Fender Squier that my dad showed me a song. He played. I think I learned "Ghost Riders in the Sky" by Johnny Cash. That was the first thing I ever learned. I was like 6 years old, and that was like all I knew how to play until I was like 14.
Yeah.
But I got the steel string acoustic and played on that for like a couple of years, and like obviously showed some interest and started learning some stuff. So I got an Epiphone Explorer, which is like just a black Epiphone Explorer. Mm-hmm. And that was actually the car that got destroyed in the car crash. The guitar that got destroyed in the car crash. But I played on that, and like the tone quality was like, looking back, if I would play on it now, I'd be like, oh God, you know. But I remember I went to Guitar Center one day and I played a Gibson Explorer, and because I'd been playing on that other one for so long, like I plugged that into an amp and I started playing it, and I couldn't believe what my ears were experiencing. It was like night and day, huge, amazing tone difference. And just, I felt like I was a better player and all that. And that was like the first step in like understanding how much tone impacts your playing. And, and so, then I played on, I actually eventually got a Gibson Explorer, which is, it's my main guitar, my main electric guitar that I've been playing for like 12 years or something now. Yeah. And it's been through a lot with me, and I love that guitar so much. Yeah. But I went from like I had an amp, sold the amp, had another amp, sold that amp, and started doing direct interface in my computer.
Exactly.
Yeah, and and whenever they first started doing that software, I think I did the in college. I started using Bias Effects, and Bias Effects has got some pretty good tone, but in the last like 2 years, this company called Neural DSP released these, what they call archetype packages, these plugins. And I'm going to like recommend this brand to anybody who wants to direct interface in their computer. Get Neural DSP. You can try out any of their plugins entirely for free for like 2 weeks or a week or something. Yeah. And then you can, and actually right now their stuff, they have doing Black Friday sales. So everything's 50% off. Yeah. You like $60 for like an amazing guitar plugin.
I was like every year it's like the Black Friday sales come in and like I see my emails. I'm like, no, stop it. I don't want to spend any money.
Yeah, no, I mean, I can't recommend, like I've got 3 of their plugins. I've got Archetype Nolly, Archetype Pliny, and their bass plugin, which is called Parallax. And I use Archetype Pliny for every solo and I mean, like the tone quality it's like butter. It's beautiful. It just makes me feel so warm and fuzzy inside. So, yeah.
And that's the thing. It's so like, because I'm not a guitarist, I've never really cared enough. I mean, I do care more now, obviously. Well, not obviously, but like, I don't know. I am a little ashamed of the PV Viper sitting in the corner there.
I haven't heard it, so I don't know. But
right. But it's like one of those starter amps that like every teenager gets, and it does everything decently enough.
Yeah.
Like it has its own like built-in effects. It has like some sort of
solid state, right?
Yeah. But it's like, it's very digital sounding.
Yeah, solid state. Yeah, no, that was my problem playing, because my first like good amp was a Line 6 Spider 3.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
the other one.
Yeah, and that one is, I mean, it was great for distortion. It's what I played all like my live shows with my metal band and stuff. But the clean tone was like, I'd always play it and just be like, yeah, that sounds like crap. Like I can't play that. And then I was dating this girl, and she got a tube amp, and I started playing that a little bit here and there. And I mean, that was like, okay, hold on.
Kept the amp, left the girl.
Yeah, like I mean, that was a eye-opening experience. Like, okay, hold on, there's a world of clean tone out there that I am not aware of, and it takes a lot of experience over time. You just get exposed to things that you don't always have access to. And then eventually you're like, you hear the guitar, you play through the guitar or whatever on some tone, and you're like, okay, no, nothing. Nothing.
So I mean, for me at this point, I plug directly into the interface, and whatever tools I have in Ableton or in whatever other plugins that I have. What's the Native Instruments Guitar Pro, I think is the
Native Instruments, they've got I have a lot of their plugins. I think I know what you're talking about.
And it's just like the guitar effect rack thing, and like their amps sound good to me. They're like all their effects sound good to me. So it's like, I don't care.
At some point, if we ever get a time to like hang out and play some music, I'm going to bring my laptop and we'll plug into the monitors, and you can mess around with Archetype Plini, because that is like, there's some tones on there that it's so spacey and like huge, just buttery clean sounding good stuff. Like it's unbelievable that they're able to do that with digital software now. So
well, I mean, at this point, like all of the software and like modeling plugins and stuff that like recreate outboard gear and stuff, like they're getting better and better and better. And like even the top of the top, like professional like mastering engineers and stuff will like listen A/B and be like,
can't tell.
I couldn't tell you which one. I like this one better. Well, that's the digital one.
Yeah. I mean, and not only that, it's just ease of use too. Like you plug right in your computer, and your DAW's open, and it's right there, and it's
who needs a freaking patch bay anymore?
Yeah, I don't even own an amp anymore. I don't have one. Like it's like I have one crappy one. It sits in storage, and that's it. So
well, that's sitting in the corner because it's like it's necessary for just like playing things loudly. That's all it is.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't do any live performances, and I haven't done a live performance since college. So even then it was acoustic. So
So I mean, I don't know, like people get into this idea of gear or whatever, but I think it really is about just like having the tools that are just available to you and learning to use them. If you get a new tool, learn to use that too. And it just becomes a part of you. And instead of like, trying to seek out like, there's this next better thing that I can buy and it'll make me sound that much better. It's like, no, just have what you have and like learn it and learn yourself and learn how you play and do you the best that you can.
I learned a lesson from that, even what you're discussing right now. Cause like for the longest time, the DAW I was using was a Reaper. And that's like it's not free, but it's free. We all know. Come on. I did pay for Reaper. I will say that.
Congratulations.
I was like, I used it for like probably 5 years before I decided, okay, it's probably time.
They are very grateful.
So, but Reaper, I mean, it's a fantastic DAW. I think it's, I've used a couple of different ones now, and I even have Cubase as well. And I got Cubase thinking like, okay, this will probably take my stuff to the next level or whatever. And I like Cubase a lot. It's really awesome. And there's some things that it has that Reaper doesn't have, but I could probably I got really comfortable with Reaper and all the hotkeys and just the workflow. And relearning everything on a new DAW that is basically doing the same thing was kind of like, I just felt kind of like, duh, Bryndon, what are you doing? So.
Yeah. And that's, I mean, for me as a like composer first producer, it is like, I don't know. I use Pro Tools, obviously, as you can see here.
It's one that
we're recording the podcast.
I've looked at it from a distance.
But for creating music, if I want to make something, I hate Pro Tools.
Really?
And so Ableton Live was the first thing that I ever learned. Again, my debut album is entirely in the light version of Ableton, which only let you have like 8 tracks, only like a certain number of effects, a certain number of different things. And I did that whole album with the light version of Ableton. And the way that Ableton works is different than any other DAW. And so like I don't know, I learned how to record audio differently. Mm-hmm. And so usually whenever people that have been using other DAWs for a while will open up Ableton and be like, I don't know what's going on here.
Yeah. That's my thing with every DAW. It's like, okay, YouTube tutorials. Let's go.
But for me, it was like, I don't know what this is. So let me just like drag that there. Oh, cool. Yeah. All right. That does something. Yeah. All right. Let me drag that there.
There's plenty of that too.
Super intuitive with Ableton Live.
Oh, okay.
Whereas with Pro Tools, it's like, it just opens up and it's this blank page. And it's just like, I don't know what to do here.
Yeah. I can
and
see
like,
that.
you can open a track and then it'll be like, here you go. Here's an audio track.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah. I felt that way.
Pro Tools assumes that you are doing something before you do.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with Finale. Mm-hmm. Finale is like new file and it's like, what are you making?
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know what I'm making, man. I'm just trying
to start something. Yeah, exactly.
and that's incredibly constraining to the creative process. Instead, you just like,
the more decisions you have to make before you go into it, the more ridiculous, like you sit down, you finally try to start doing something and you've already gone through so much of a process.
Yeah. And so like in Ableton, you can just like make up, I don't know, put one MIDI track and just put like a sine wave synth on it. Mm-hmm. And you can already do like anything on piano, anything on like
that's
guitar.
How I feel about Reaper too.
It's just like a simple sine wave and then you'll mess with tone later.
Yep.
And then you have notes and you have complete creative freedom and you can throw effects on it. You can do anything you want. Yep. And I think learning from that way, like thinking of sound and thinking of notes first, and then going out into, all right, what do I want tone? What do I want?
Yeah, it's kind of like effects. You do a rough carving and then you polish it later, you know?
Yeah.
And like that's always been my writing process too, is establish the foundation. And I used to just try to start writing like a melody or something, but nowadays I do it all from the ground up. Like I build chords and then melody comes after I've got this whole thing already built, you know? So,
I mean, a lot of times I'll just like sit here, just like pressing a key over and over again. Just like, no, boop.
Oh yeah.
Like
dude,
going through the sounds.
No, dude,
every
instrumentation is gotta be, like one of the blights of my existence because because like if you don't get the instrumentation right as you going along, like that the instrumentation you're using drastically changes like how you're influenced to make the ideas that you want to make. Like I can start a song thinking like I'm going to go in this, I'm going to make like a pretty heavy metal thing, you know, and I'm going to start it off with like this clean tone or something and like build something ethereal and then go into something heavy or whatever, you know. And as I'm going through my instrumentation and I'm adding layers and stuff, I eventually just go like, no, this is not heavy at all. This is totally clean, pretty, you know? And I mean, like the only thing that changed that was the fact that the instrumentation I started using was like, it meshed way better and it sounded way cooler and it inspired this whole different idea. Like I went down a completely different rabbit hole.
Yeah.
You know,
and kind of going with that, like classical music idea we were talking about earlier, I feel like classical music, because of the medium of looking at sheet music and you already have the instrument and that's what you're playing.
Yeah.
You don't spend enough time thinking about what sound is.
Yeah.
And so it's like a piece of music, whenever you learn it and play it, you can be like, oh, this sounds very like, you know, joyous and playful. And like the articulations sort of start to come out the more that you play it, even if like the articulations weren't there. It's like, oh, you know, this is kind of plucky rather than like elongated. And like that's not something that will necessarily show up in the music unless you like keep learning it.
Yeah.
And so sound is as important as
like pitch and
notes and rhythm.
Yeah. One thing that I noticed when I was in school was like you want to learn a piece and you start learning it and you get all the notes down and then you sit down with your professor or whatever and you play it for them and they go, okay. And like, you already have this thing in your head of like how maybe you have like an idea of what you want from it and you start playing it that way. And then they go, okay, that's interesting. And they start to lay out some rules, or not some rules, but like some logical criticisms and like, okay, well, why are you doing that way? And you start to think about it and, you know, you're like that was probably one of the more interesting and rewarding aspects of college, was just having somebody to bounce my performance off of. And just because they're like, well, is there any intention behind that? Or is that just like what you think is cool? Yeah. You know, and it's like, I think there's value to both of those things, but I think the intention thing is way more important because especially classical music, you're playing a drama. Like it's like a Shakespeare play or something, you know, like, and you want it to make sense. You want it to sound a certain way as it progresses and then reach a certain climax and so you need the intention for it to make sense. Otherwise you're just playing notes on a page. Right.
Well, and this is where it gets like a bit headier about music, but like the inevitable conversation is like, just what is music? And so I
love that conversation.
The shortest possible answer that I've reduced it to is just sound with intent.
That's basically my definition too. Cause I take it, I've always been kind of asked the question more broadly of like, what is art? You know, and I think music falls in that also. But I always defined it as like anything you say is art is basically art, and you know, intention. It's like I say that's art, so it's art. And I've had people laugh at me for saying that, and I say, okay, well, what's your definition? And they've kind of came back with me something, and I go,
a painting or something. Yeah. It's like, well, would you say that like a film is art?
It's like, I mean, it's very interesting because it's so subjective. And, you know, like I think somebody told me like, well, it's something that you create. And I was like, okay, well, what if I created like a toilet and put it in the middle of a museum hall or something, you know, like, well, that's not art. And it's like, well, I created it. I think it's beautiful. You know, it's like, so.
And so like sound with intent is like the most reducible that you can do it. So it's like if a tree falls in the forest, it just makes a sound. If a tree falls in the forest and you record it and you play it back to someone, then it's music.
You know, and you know, and what's something, this is probably a little bit off topic, but it's something that I've always thought was really, or this is kind of high talk. Maybe I'm not high, but like all of our experiences, like in terms of like our senses and stuff, that's all created in your brain, you know? And so like what you see and what you touch and what you feel and what you hear aren't really, I don't know, like what are they outside of like the human experience, you know? I mean, what is sound other than just vibrations and how I mean, like your experience of sound is all like created by your brain.
Yes.
You know, so like that's just like it's interesting to consider, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. But and then so like how it goes in and then how you like interact with it is sort of where this interesting exploration becomes. And so it's like we can listen to the sounds of birds and be like, that's beautiful. But like, to birds, they're just like, they're out there just yelling.
Yeah.
Like
it's some form of language.
So like we interpret like the sounds of nature as beautiful for some reason. And maybe it's because we associate it with something and these relationships that we can create. And so it's like, because of that, like intention is sort of where I think the like necessary qualifier is, because we imbue the meaning to it.
Yeah.
God is dead and we killed him. So we have to create our own meaning for our lives.
Yeah, there's some truth to that as well. It's another interesting characteristic about music is that it is so visceral, and that it's like invisible, but it has like a shape, a color, and a roundness to it, and and all these things that we can only describe in sort of abstract terms, and it exists in the abstract as well, and that like I often wonder like what music is to people, and actually it's one of my favorite. Obviously, it's one of my favorite things to talk about, but I always ask like when I get the opportunity and I sit down with somebody long enough, like what about music like draws you to it, or like what is the thing you're seeking from it?
Yeah,
because I know I've spent a considerable amount of time in my own life thinking about that myself. Like what do I want from music, and why? What draws myself to it, I keep harping on the color thing, but like that's what I slowly developed or learned about myself, that was what I was looking for, was like this abstract sort of painting in some ways.
Yeah. I think for me is it's a form of communication.
Absolutely.
And so the way that music can convey information differently than language, than touch, than visual art, and the craft of maneuvering that communication is very intriguing and important. And so like, to me, I'm searching for ways to convey information more effectively and more uniquely.
Yeah.
And so it's simple enough to convey pain with just like screaming. It's another way of conveying pain by, taking a guitar sound and distorting it. And like, these are two different sounds, but you can use them together or separately to convey a similar message.
That's something I didn't ever, it's something I've definitely considered, but it's not something that I've it's not been in the forefront of my mind when I've been writing, is like, what are you conveying right now?
Yeah. What are you trying to say?
Ironically, it's not ironic, but some of the best pieces I've written, I think personally, like, or at least the ones that I've received the most sort of, commendation from friends and family that have heard him, were the ones that like I did actually go in with the intent of like, I want to convey a feeling about something right now. And that always made my music better.
Yeah. And sometimes you don't even know.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. You can actually start writing something and then kind of hear it after the fact. And then that can just go, wait, no, that's that.
Yeah.
And holy crap.
And the whole process of creating something that, even if you don't know what you're trying to say, as you're working on it, as you're refining it, you're like, oh, this is what I'm trying to say. And so I always kind of use the metaphor of finding the statue in the marble. And so you're chiseling away at the marble that isn't the statue.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
So like, even if you don't know what the statue is beneath, you might like hit something and be like, oh, it goes in that direction.
Absolutely. That's totally right. And I can even, I used to draw a lot when I was a kid. I've definitely been always more artistically oriented than, I'm terrible at sports. That was kind of like the juxtaposition of my childhood. But like learning that I was like a fairly creative individual. And so like I would always draw, and that, I think what you're describing now has actually kind of been what my aesthetic has been for a long time, which is just start creating and figure out what you're creating as you're creating it.
Yeah.
And even when I was drawing as a kid, I would just start drawing on paper and like whatever. I had no idea what I wanted to go and start drawing, but I would just start making lines, and that would turn into these big drawings. And the same thing with a lot of my music. And same thing even with photography too. I mean, probably the only thing that I couldn't say I've done that with is like videography, because you have to go into that with a intent.
Sure.
Like, it's like, I'm going to make a video of this because, you know, I never went into like, I just never started videoing things and then just tried to say, well, what am I trying to convey?
Yeah. And that's where like some like avant-garde filmmaking
Exactly.
can come from, is like someone just like walks around with a camera and
exactly.
then like the process of editing sort of refines what do I want to show people?
Yeah.
And it's a similar thing again with creating music, is like you can try a whole bunch of different ideas and only the stuff that gets kept in is what people see.
Yeah.
But like there's this whole process of like, not that note, and like you have all of these options that it could have been.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's one thing that I've had a difficult time doing, is like establishing what kind of style of music I want to convey to the world. Is like, I haven't really released an album or anything. I've written a lot of stuff on my computer, but I haven't really put together like a cohesive like idea or anything. And all the stuff that I've written, it's like all over the place. You know, I've got like a lot of different genres and it's basically, it sounds like if you were to list it all in succession, it sounds like I'm throwing darts out into the world and just trying to hit random stuff, you know? But I think a lot of that stems from the fact that I tend to like lean towards like progressive music and just I tend to consume a lot of different genres of music. So whatever inspires me in the moment is just whatever comes out, I guess.
Yeah. And I've made it a point to not be pigeonholed by genre.
Yeah. I think that's
so that I can do anything. And so it's like, I know that on my next album, I have like some pop songs. I have some rock songs. I have some like, I don't know, jazzy songs. Like it's all different stuff, but it's still all me. And I can see how it's like cohesive, and all of these stories that I'm telling, all of these things that I'm saying through music. And like,
it's like, I mean, like instrumental music, it's kind of like, I think I've heard you even say this. I think I remember you saying this on your podcast with your brother as I listened to that one, but it's like music for music's sake, you know? And that's what I think is, I mean, that's what I appreciate at least. It's like, cause I'll even listen to stuff that isn't really all that appealing, but just because it is, I can tell that, I mean, maybe it isn't, but at least to me, it seems like the intent is that I'm just making music because it's me and this is what I'm throwing out in the world. And, and whatever that may be, whether it's interesting or not, it still is semi-interesting just based on the fact that it is that. It's like human creation. But
it still says something.
Yeah.
Like there's no way to listen to like Beethoven's Pathétique and not hear that he's saying something.
Oh yeah, that's beautiful. I went through a Beethoven thing for a while, and that was one, man.
Yeah. And it's
beautiful.
Like, sure, there may be some notes, or you can dig into like Beethoven's history and what he was going through at the time or something like that.
Yeah.
But it's like,
you almost don't even need any of that.
Yeah.
Like, to really feel some sadness in that one or something.
Yeah.
You know?
And so it's like, there's a lot in it.
Yeah.
And so like, no matter what, something is still being said and you can interpret it differently, but like there's some kernel of something that we're all trying to communicate whenever we make music, whenever we listen to music, and we're receiving these messages.
Yeah.
And so one of my favorite things that I've learned how to play on piano is one of the Chopin preludes, the E minor, which
is it that one that's like that
the one note.
Yeah. No, I know exactly what you're talking about. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
And it's like, so simple.
It's so simple. And it's like the chords move mostly stepwise. And like the melody is like pretty much just two notes.
Yeah.
But it's so powerful and so profound and so sad.
Oh,
like,
God.
How is this so sad?
Yeah. No, that is there was this video that it was like a TED Talk. I think you may have seen it, but it was by this guy named Benjamin Zander. And he did Why Everyone Loves Classical Music or something, I think is what it was called. And he used that piece, and he if nobody's seen this, check it out. It's amazing. But he uses that piece and he asks like the audience a question, like, put this in your mind before I play this. And then he plays it and like, oh God, man, it's oh, God, okay. Well, now I'm probably going to go cry in my room for a little bit, but it's a powerful video. And that piece is unbelievably powerful for how simple it is.
Mm-hmm. And so it's like, I don't know what or why, like, but like it is, and it's powerful. And so
Chopin's amazing.
This one's going long enough. There's one more little point that I want to raise for at least like 5 minutes.
Okay.
Is a friend of mine was showing me something. It was either a piano or guitar piece. And like, as soon as it started, I was like, oh, this is very French.
Okay.
And then I stopped and I was like, how does something sound French?
Yeah.
I've been dealing with this question for a little while now. And it's like, I know what French sounds like.
Yeah.
I can't tell you like what specifically about it.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
is French or is Italian or is English or whatever.
Well, I think that's an interesting point to bring up about music that we haven't actually discussed yet, is that in its inception, I think music has always been like very much culturally oriented. And like, I mean, every civilization on planet Earth has music as a part of it.
Yeah.
Even like, tribes in Africa and, that have no exposure to Western society or anything like that. It's almost innately cultural.
Yeah.
And we've only reached a point now where we've become this sort of global society or mass society.
Yeah.
This mass culture that has existed or is coming to fruition here in the United States and across the modern Western world or whatever. But so like, it's weird that as we become a more globalized society, the less the cultural aspects of the music I feel has become to be what am I trying to say? Like we become there's this process where we're sort of like for example, when I lived in Mexico, a lot of the music the popular music that you heard on like the TV or whatever was like very much Western music. Like it was like pop music in the United States.
Yeah.
And like they have their own music, like, and you can hear like their traditional stuff, like, and you can hear like their, ranchero music and stuff like that. And kind of know that's definitely more Mexican than what we're hearing on the TV right now. And I think as the world gets bigger, it's also simultaneously getting smaller in some ways, because our culture is sort of taking over those, and they're having to maintain their traditional practices just to ensure that people know what they are, because ours are just sort of going like, no, that's what music is now. Yeah. Now with that, there's also the fact that I think it's very liberating in some ways too, because in our, like, anything goes for the most part in our society, in the age of the internet, you can make anything. It's not like the 80s when everything was on like 6 different radio stations, So yeah, it's very, I think it's been really good for creativity. And I'm not sure that it's a bad thing that we're eliminating these traditional practices. I mean, it's kind of a sad thing, but I think it's inevitable. Yeah. I don't know.
But final note, which is just like, we should approach these things that are highly valued to us with a form of respect.
Oh, absolutely.
Sanctity. That even though, again, God is dead and we killed him, we create our own meaning, and we have to determine what values that we have. And so when we take something that is important to us and like desaturate it with whatever other meaninglessness that we inject with our lives, we'll eventually come to find that everything is meaningless. And
I mean,
it'll just be bland.
I do think that you got to create your own meaning in life for sure. That's like, I don't feel like there's a lot of, I think that's a liberating idea also, is that you, if you are creating your meaning, like, that's good. It's good for you.
Yeah.
You know,
but like to treat those things that are important to you with respect and
absolutely
sanctity, to be able to go like, this is music and I admire it and it is important to me. And so I want to treat it with a form of reverence. And that kind of puts us in a place.
I can't help but hold reverence for music. You
right.
know? It's so beautiful. It's hard to not feel that way.
But there's other things in our lives that it does seem as though like we're sort of losing this form of reverence for, whether it be like, I don't know, art, music, food, democracy.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I think it's
conversation,
it's relative.
Relationships, people.
I think it's relative. It's relative, you know. It's hard to say that generally, but yeah, I think there is some truth to that. But you know, as long as you're doing it on an individual level, I think, and holding that reverence and that respect, then that's all you really can control anyway.
Right.
So,
Bryndon, thank you so much for doing this with me.
Oh, dude, this was an honor. I had a great time.
Plug your stuff one more time.
Yeah, my Instagram is Bryndon Scott, BryndonScott, _SCOTT, and then that's just like my private account where I post music and pictures and stuff. And then I have my 2 photography accounts, bsy.photo and bsy.portrait. So you can find all my stuff there.
Yeah, check it out. And then maybe even pay him to get your photos taken.
Oh, yeah. Or I'll write you a song or something for your video game.
Well, awesome, man. I'm Santiago Ramones.
I'm Bryndon York.
You can find everything that I do on my website, santiagoramones.com. I make music. Bloom is available now, streaming everywhere. Put it on in the background or show it to your friends so you can all enjoy it together. You can also buy it on Bandcamp and get bonus content so you can sit alone in the dark with your headphones on and listen to the album in its entirety while reading and looking at the bonus content. I also make music with Power Cycle, an experimental electronic trio. Our first completely improvised album, Too Many Damn Cables, is streaming everywhere. To support this podcast, leave reviews, comments, tell your friends about it, and buy my music, because by supporting me, you're supporting the podcast. I always end the podcast with my 3 things. They shape my life philosophy. Those 3 things are: love never fails, it's going to be okay, I might be wrong.